Hi, and thanks for joining us for another Q&A Friday, a regular series where we chat about issues facing manufacturing companies in the new world of Industry 4.0. I'm Jessica Bodden, a team member here at Mountain Point, and I'm joined by Andrew Rieser, our president and co-founder. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, good afternoon, Jess.
So we're continuing a conversation we've been having for the last couple of weeks on how to really dig in and manage digital transformation projects. So for those of you who follow our blog, we have a 10-step guide to managing digital transformation, 10 best practices. And we're taking a look at each of those best practices one by one and addressing the issues surrounding them and taking a look at what they really look like on the ground. And so today, Andrew, what I'd like to talk about is how you can establish accountability and set expectations for change, right? I know in the past we've talked a lot about how important it is to get your team on board, to get your leadership on board, and also how scary change can be for people. So how do you make sure that you're addressing the people side of that and making sure that everybody's moving in the same direction?
I think that managing people is a challenge in and of itself, but being able to articulate and set expectations and kind of lead that change and have everybody motivated to be a part of that change, that's what we see as the deciding factor, if you will, in the successful digital transformations versus the ones that fail to get off the ground. So I think this is a very important topic, and change management and leadership, and more importantly, setting those expectations and metrics for how individuals that are contributing to this change and that are change agents, how they're going to be measured and how the overarching organization is going to be measured to ensure success.
Yeah. So what are some practical strategies, some like examples of things that companies can do to communicate where they're trying to go and how to get there?
Yeah, I think a reoccurring theme that you'll hear as a part of these series is the amount of focus and the amount of time that's required in these things. So similar to executive leadership, kind of setting the vision and putting the time and energy that is warranted for these types of transformations. I think that individuals and individual contributors need to also have that same level of focus and make this a priority. What we've seen, whether it's a digital transformation initiative or just kind of leadership and management best practices, is having one-on-one meetings. And so one-on-one meetings allows for a more frequent, agile kind of cadence around what's going on. So it allows that transparency to happen. It allows the goals to be articulated and the processes to be measured, but also allows that kind of continuous feedback loop of what's working and what's not working, so that you can continuously improve and identify areas where you're being deficient, and as well as areas that are making an impact, so that that agile approach can continue to help with the organizational change.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit, and I heard you use the word measurement a few times there. Tell me a little bit about how our conversation from last time on setting KPIs and setting direction fits into this concept of establishing accountability.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And in the famous words of Peter Drucker has the statement of, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So I think in any of these initiatives, it's not only important to establish the baseline of where you currently are and set the goal of where you want to be, but also creating those processes of how you're going to measure that and how you're going to know whether you're doing and the improvements that you're making are making a change or not.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things that I've seen clients and customers do is structure their weekly meetings or their daily meetings or their staff meetings around a dashboard. Everybody's looking at the same metrics. Everybody's kind of looking at the same goal and seeing how far they've come from last week. And I think that really helps establish that accountability, because you can see if the needle's not moving. It also helps structure the conversation so that everybody's focused on the same thing. And I think that's one very specific way that this can be incorporated, but also a really effective one.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit on two things there. So one is the consistency, right? So having a consistent cadence around the data that the organization and the individuals know is important and being measured fosters better collaboration and communication around those items. And then that the next piece that we kind of just alluded to is also the data, right? So being able to actually look at that data and see what is being measured allows you to have that kind of gauge of where things are and where you need to be either investing more time or putting more energy and focus into, or areas that are kind of improving the way that you would want to improve them so that you can start tackling the next level items that are on your priority list. So I think those are two important factors of where dashboards and reports and leveraging your data kind of can create that consistency and get everybody on the same page talking about the same things.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we'll continue this conversation next week and in weeks to come. Thank you so much for your time, Andrew. And for those of you out there listening, if you have a question you'd like us to answer or an issue you want us to tackle, please let us know. You can hit us up online on our social media channels, via email or chatbot. We're everywhere, and we love to hear from you. So thanks again, Andrew, and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Jess.